Cyberpunk 2077 has come a long way since its disastrous launch in 2020, and the developers have worked tirelessly to add in new features, overhaul the gameplay, and fix most of the crazy bugs we experienced when the game came out. But there are still some things I personally would love to see added to the game, and that's what we're going to talk about today. What's up everyone, Big Dan here. I make videos about RPGs, and in this video, we're going to explore 7 missing features and things I wish we could have in Cyberpunk 2077. Now without further ado, let's buckle up, grab some iced coffee, and dive into the video. Number 1, third-person perspective. One of the most requested features in the Cyberpunk community is the demand for a third-person camera perspective. 99% of the game can only be experienced in first person, with the exception of photo mode and driving in vehicles. But it would be really cool if we could explore the streets of Night City with the camera pulled back away from V. Sadly, this feature will most likely never make it into the game. It was a deliberate design choice to make Cyberpunk first-person only, as cutscene transitions, combat, and most other aspects of gameplay have been crafted with the first-person camera in mind. Much like Pirate Software, I'm no game developer, but I imagine it wouldn't be a simple task to overhaul the game to implement a third-person mode. They would likely need to rework a lot of the combat animations, as well as how the player transitions into cinematics. And at this stage of Cyberpunk's development roadmap, if they haven't added this feature by now, we know it's probably never coming. So our best hope for experiencing a third-person Cyberpunk playthrough is for the modding community, or for the devs to implement this feature in the sequel, currently dubbed Project Orion. Now personally, I tend to prefer playing in first person in games that have both options, like Skyrim, Avowed, and Fallout. But it is always fun to toggle into third person for exploration, so it's kind of a bummer that we cannot do this in Cyberpunk 2077 unless we're on a motorcycle or other vehicle. If you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to hit that like button and go follow me on Instagram at Big Dan Gaming. I'll put a link in the pinned comment. Number 2, New Game Plus. For massive open-world games and RPGs that don't have New Game Plus, this is always one of the most requested features. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Fallout 4, and Elder Scrolls fans have long clamored for New Game Plus, and Cyberpunk 2077 is no different. One thing I often feel at the end of a long playthrough is the desire to continue playing and building on my progress, re-experiencing the content without losing all of my abilities, weapons, and other things I've gathered along the way. So it's a big bummer that we cannot do this in Cyberpunk 2077, especially considering there are some iconic weapons that you can only unlock by completing the final mission of the game. I know enemy scaling is one of the challenges that developers face when implementing New Game Plus, but honestly I don't think CDPR would need to go ham with scaling up the enemies or creating new levels of progression. I think most players would be happy with the existing level cap and enemy difficulty. We just want to be able to keep our gear, man. This would certainly be easier to implement than a third-person camera mode. Just let us keep our progression and stash gear and start the campaign over again. If any of the devs are watching this video, maybe have a chat with the folks over at Virtuos Games and add this to the feature list for patch 2.4. Number 3, the ability to join a gang. There are a ton of different gangs that V interacts with throughout the game, but pretty much all we can do is piss them off and get on their bad side. One thing I would love to see, perhaps in the next Cyberpunk game, is the ability to join and work with the gangs of Night City. As much as I disliked Star Wars Outlaws, one good idea that game had was how they implemented gang reputation. As you completed jobs for a particular gang or faction, you would gain access to their hideouts and merchants. But if you tanked your reputation, their members would shoot you on sight and refuse to work with you. But this was a Ubisoft game after all, so the system was half-baked and far from perfect, and you could typically grind out random BS slop content to max out all the factions. But I think there's a shell of a good idea in there that could be implemented in a game like Cyberpunk 2077. I think it would be awesome if Maelstrom or the Tiger Claws had their own quest chains or jobs that we could unlock, complete with their own gang safe houses for us to explore and NPCs to talk to or buy gear from. Maybe we can even make another gang a mortal enemy, or take part in gang turf wars throughout Night City. Now I know something like this won't get implemented in Cyberpunk 2077 at this point, unless CDPR does a Gangs of Night City paid expansion or something like that, but hey, I think it's a fun idea that could allow us to roleplay a bit differently in the Cyberpunk universe. Number 4, more romance options. Cyberpunk 2077 has some pretty good romance options, but there are a ton of characters in this world that I wish we could romance, but sadly we cannot. Characters like Blue Moon, Rita Wheeler from the Moxes, or Songbird all immediately come to mind. Maybe my brain is just cooked from playing too many OG BioWare games, but having only 3 or 4 solid romance options in a gigantic RPG like Cyberpunk 2077 just seems a little slim to me, especially considering that many of these options are linked to a particular gender. For instance, if you're playing as a straight male character, then your only long-term romance option is Pan Am. Not bad, all things considered, but if you don't happen to like Pan Am for some reason, then you're destined to be an incel. Compare this with a game like Mass Effect 3, where you've got Liara, Ashley, Tali, Jack, Miranda, and more. And sure, some of those are contingent on importing a save from Mass Effect 2, but you get the idea. Shepard's got plenty of options, while V basically just has one per playthrough. Overall, RPG romance is a take-it-or-leave-it thing for me, but if you're gonna implement it, might as well go all the way, you know what I'm saying? Number 5, Cyberpsychosis. A major part of Cyberpunk lore that is basically overlooked in gameplay is the concept of cyberpsychosis. As humans install more chrome in their bodies, the likelihood that they will lose their mind in the process increases. And yet, here we have V, who is capable of installing a nearly limitless amount of cyberware with no negative repercussions. V is the one who takes out cyber psychos on the streets of Night City, but our protagonist runs no risk of going psycho themselves. I think it would be cool if the game would allow us to exceed our cyberware capacity at the risk of going cyber psycho. This is something you could actually do in Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Adam Jensen could overclock his cybernetic implants at the risk of experiencing glitches and blacking out in gameplay.
Kohler, what happened?
Jensen? You okay, man?
Something shut down inside me. I think I just lost an aug.
Didn't balance your system, did you? A man can't overclock ad infinitum. Not without proper calibration. You should be thankful you're still alive.
Perhaps this feature could get annoying, but I think it would be fun for challenge runs, immersion, and consistency of lore. I believe there was a Cyberpsychosis mod at one point, but this is something I would love to see the devs add to Cyberpunk 2077 or consider for the feature list of Project Orion. Number 6, more outfits and paint job options. One of the most frustrating things about fashion in Cyberpunk 2077 is that I'll always notice these impeccably dressed NPCs all over Night City, but when I try to find their outfits for my own character, the items are nowhere to be found. It seems like there are a bunch of fits that are available only in-game for NPCs. So one thing I would love to see implemented is an expansion to V's fashion. If an outfit already exists in-game for NPCs, then why can't I acquire it and wear it on my character too? Seems like a pretty easy thing to implement. The outfit assets already exist. Just unlock them and let me wear them too, right? Same thing goes for paint jobs. CDPR added car customization in patches 2.2 and 2.3, but there are still some unique paint jobs that are only available on NPC cars. Things like these cool Tiger Claws paint jobs or the Militech paint job on those big-ass SUVs. Let me get those for my character, man. Number 7, more photo mode options. Okay, man, I'm just kidding. I think photo mode is complete at this point. You guys knocked it out of the park. So my actual number 7 is flying vehicles. Cyberpunk 2077 is set in a futuristic technological dystopia. And you're telling me I can't have flying cars? Come on, bro. We see AVs and can even ride in them at various points, but I want to take the wheel, man. This is more of a wish list thing for Project Orion, as I doubt this will get added to Cyberpunk 2077 at this point. But think of it this way. GTA and Far Cry have all sorts of aircraft that we can pilot. So a big open world game like Cyberpunk 2077 or its sequel should have that as well, right? Even Mass Effect 2 allowed us to fly a sky car during the Lair of the Shadow Broker DLC. So what's your excuse, CDPR? So there you have it. We've explored 7 missing features and other gameplay things I would love to see added to Cyberpunk 2077. Are there any new things you would love to see in Cyberpunk or in the sequel? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe to Big Dan Gaming for more Cyberpunk and RPG videos. Big shout out to all the channel members for supporting my content. Until next time, this has been Big Dan. I should go.